I think that there's always a role for advocates and endorsers. We don't go down the celebrity route too much. It's just a bit random. Someone can be cool one day and not cool the next day. So artists for us are really the draw card, to get people to come to effectively a really cool branded experience. They still want to come and see the Antler Havers, so they still want to see Codeline. They're not coming to a Nokia show, but they ultimately walk out going, I can understand why Nokia did that. I'm really impressed that Nokia did that, and I saw all these bright coloured phones around taking great pictures and great videos, and I now know there's a playlist on mixed radio. So I think the artist really is the draw card, but it's not necessarily a marketing hook to use them as kind of as spokespeople. It's not kind of really a place that we play in too much.
Would you say that Nokia has become more of a cooler brand with some of these like Lumia live sessions and getting people to come out to actually see artists who aren't necessarily pop, but people that they would naturally listen to? Because Nokia seems that it's actually become, even with the colours of the Lumia 1020, it's bright, you'll be aware of it.
Yeah.
It's not dull, it's not discreet. Do you feel that the brand's actually becoming cooler with these?
I hope so. That's our job, right? We need to appeal to a younger audience, and we want someone to go out to the pub or out with their mates and their mates say that's a cool phone. So yeah, that has to come across in the design, in the experience on the device, but also the brand that's on the front of it. So yeah, I all of our brand tracking says that we're definitely starting to cut through, which is great, and we're becoming more and more relevant. And we choose artists like upcoming artists because our competitors will go and do a deal with Jay-Z, and that's fine. That's good for scale, etc. But I think that I'd much rather do something which is more surprising and more interesting, and ultimately a little bit more human, I suppose, because that's kind of what sits at the heart of our brand.
We're saying that you go for the upcoming artists. What do you what metrics do you look at in terms of, is our campaign successful? Are we reaching our objectives? Because like you're saying, you are putting on live events, but how do you know if you're thinking that we've actually achieved what we set out to do?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, there are kind of top level measures like how many people are we reaching. So yeah, an event might only have 120 people there, but actually they tell so many people about it, and then the content we create with the blog tech means that it reaches literally hundreds of thousands of people, and then gets lots of PR coverage, particularly in the regions where lots of events happen in London, but you don't see a really cool gig every day down in Cornwall. So we get a lot of great local media pickup around there. So that's one measure. But ultimately it's about brand reappraisal. It's like you said, it's about people that might not have thought Nokia was cool doing something cool. And by virtue of that, we track our brand in terms of awareness, consideration, preference, and we kind of track the people that have come to these events or have been exposed to this content versus the norm, and look back and go, are we actually moving the needle here among these people? And generally, particularly, I mean, awareness is relatively saturated, but particularly would they consider a Nokia Lumia for their next smartphone? Would they prefer one? We're seeing anything between 2 and 3 times uplift of people that get exposed to this content or go to these events versus the norm. And the norm itself is growing kind of week on week, so to know that this is growing exponentially faster means that it feels like we're doing the right thing, and we're being seen in media environments that Nokia as a brand wouldn't have been seen in before. So we're talking to audience that have previously been kind of unreachable, so it works on a number of levels for us.
I think that's being seen with the impact you're having in Asia currently, and also with the phones being able to be used offline, that people don't have internet, they can still use territories like Africa.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the next 2-3 years, where ideally do you want to see Nokia to be placed?
Well, obviously, Nokia, as we know, the handset business is part of Microsoft. So you'll see the devices that we create as part of Microsoft being really at the forefront of opening up the world to great new experiences and services. Ultimately, Satya Nadella, who's the Microsoft CEO, says it's about cloud and it's about mobile. So I want to see these kind of handsets being the way to access the cloud, all of the things that matter to you wherever you are, and as I said before, at price points that make people in all, whether they're a developing market, a developed market, financially accessible to lots of people, because Nokia has a fantastic history and heritage there. And I'm quite proud about the fact that people in India, in China, in Africa, their first experience of a Nokia mobile phone, and now we have the opportunity to make sure their first Skype call is on a Nokia mobile phone, or the first time they sign up to, you know, to have a cloud storage like OneDrive, for example. So that's kind of a cool place to be. So I'm excited about all that.